Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. This is a Super Dave special review. Super Dave here with another exciting action figure review, and this time it's a Marvel Legends series. That's right, we have a demonic, evil Mephisto. Mephisto in the house by Marvel Legends with his gruesome looking throne and his cool sword and his lanky self. We're going to be checking him out. There's a picture of him there on the side. I believe this was a Hasbro exclusive to their website. Just look at that. Oh, wow. Just amazing. One of the things that drew me to this was the back of this throne. I'm like, I can use that even if I can't, you know. Just really cool. There's a little write-up in several languages there if you'd like to look at those. But man, just an amazing looking action figure, and that throne is just so cool. So cool. So on the top it says Mephisto, just some legalese on the bottom. Let's go ahead and break open this Mephisto over here in our little dark setup throne room place for our Mephisto to be reviewed. And here is our Mephisto, along with some of the other evil forces that span the globe. We're taking a look first at Mephisto's accessories. And first of all, Mephisto comes equipped with two horizontally hinged open palm hands. One that you can see can hold that skull that he comes with perfectly, skull being one of the accessories. And then the other one, I've got him just kind of propping up this long sword, literally a long sword. And that is a beautiful sword that he comes with. Not sure what the story is behind that, but yeah, dynamic sword that he comes with. The second set of hands that he comes with are vertically hinged. Bravo Hasbro for giving us vertically hinged hands that are weapon holding, complete with those black fingernails painted in there. Nice touch there. Comes with two head sculpts. Comes with this grinning looking face with his hair kind of wild and out there a little bit, with his eyebrows all curled in. This one's not too different. His hair is a little bit more slick back and almost a Wolverine style, almost kind of, you know, slick back on the side and standing up more toward the back of the head, almost like a flame effect back there of brown hair. But then he comes with this really nice, I like this face sculpt with that more of a kind of a grimacing, you know, grin, diabolical looking grin. Then he comes with this soft goods cape, which has a nice little texture, and you see the tears and the more shredded look along the edge of it there, as well as a soft goods loincloth that can be strapped around his waist once you pop the torso off. We'll show you that in just a minute when we do a closer look. But he also comes with a plastic loincloth that can go around his waist and a plastic shaped cape that has not a whole lot of paint on the outside of it, but it ranges down into like a black down here. I'll show you that a little bit better closer in. And both of these, whether you go with this one or the cloth one, have a peg in the collar, because this one's got like a hard collar that has a plastic piece in the back with a peg that will peg into his back. So this one does not have any paint on the back, but it has some black along the bottom, and it also has the ragged, torn looking edges on the bottom also. So you get both of those. And then of course the prize is this amazing throne. Now I've got a foam little stand here that I'm using that I made out of styrofoam and painted it with just some, you know, tooling on it to give it some texture look, to raise him up so that his sword could go down. That's a tall sword. It needed an extra 1.5 inches just because it's taller than he is almost. But yeah, that just take a look at this awesome throne. Now let me show you something about this throne, because I'll turn it around and show you the other side, the actual throne. This is the back of the throne, by the way, but I'll show it to you here in just a moment as we take a closer look at Mephisto. All right, so taking a closer look at this throne, first of all, I want to show you that I did not attach it. It comes in two parts. I'll show you the bottom first. It comes in this part here. Just look at some of the detail, those skulls and those centipede looking things crawling out of the eyes and the nose. That skull, these are molded in there, has shading and detail, has some kind of tusks looking things. I don't know what it is. Look at the chain that's painted and some of it's rusted. There's some parts they didn't paint. As you can see, it's like they completely left out the left side over here. And then the front where the throne is actually at, you can see the other skulls here. That one's even got horns. Left off paint on this side too. But check out that little tentacle looking thing, like an octopus type tentacle coming up there with the suctions. That's painted. Looks really, really neat. And the reason I said I haven't attached mine, and let me show you the other half, or the back of the other half. This is where it's really impressive. Just take a look at the details. Like there's some horns back here, some kind of growth back here with some kind of, almost looks like it's been sliced off there and it's infected. And there's some green, like, I don't know, veins or ooze, or I don't know what it is. And take a look at these gums and teeth. And it's growing up into his eyes there, and there's cracks in the skull. Just very impressive here. And this is the back end of it. And as you see, there's a core, a plastic core, and those two big giant peg pieces that are reinforced are designed to plug into there, which would lock it in place. Now, the reason that I've not plugged mine in is simply because I was thinking about doing something like this.
I am decaying the throne of wisdom, dark wisdom. The history of evil abides in my thoughts and in my brain continuously. Anyone that wishes may come on a pilgrimage to find me and ask what they wish. And he who sits on the throne will fight the visitor. And if the visitor wins, they may ask me, decaying, anything they wish. But they have to first get past Mephisto.
Now, let's bring Decaden on in here, and I want to show you that if you don't attach it, you're going to have a gap right here. But it's kind of going to look like a crack, because this is it together. Now, if I was to push it in, it would lock it in place and I wouldn't be able to get it out without breaking the pegs. But it will sit pretty tight in there like that, and it's going to have a crack, but when you set the figure in there, it's not going to really be seen. Just look at that. Isn't that gross? This is like the grossest looking throne. Look at the tentacle. Don't it just look amazing? Now, I'm going to definitely go in here and paint some of the side here where they left off paint and finish it out on the side here and give it some more depth. But the shading on the throne and everything just looks really cool. And so there's the throne right there. That's what it looks like. We're going to show you, show you the figure sitting in it, of course, in just a moment. But notice, even if you don't peg it in, there's no break that can be seen in the front. Now you can see a little bit right here, a little bit right there, yeah, but nothing that takes away from it, because I mean it's disjointed and gross looking to begin with. But if you leave it, you have a puppet.
Decayden can answer your questions, but you first must defeat Mephisto.
So that's just my cool little take on it. I'm going to enjoy that, using the imagination, you know, kind of have Skeletor come maybe on a pilgrimage along with, you know, different ones from his group of evil, band of evil people, to see if maybe he can beat Mephisto and get some knowledge or some kind of secret from Decayden. That's what I named him, Decayden. All right, now we're going to take a closer look at Mephisto. All right, bringing Mephisto on in here to take a closer look at him. I want to show you that the back of the cape does not have any texturing. It's just a piece of cloth, but they spent some extra to put like a shiny type texture in the front of the cape, the part that you see when he's facing you. Same thing with the loincloth. Now, you can see that I installed on this hand the sword, one of the weapon holding hands, sword wielding hand, which is vertically hinged. I really like that, so you could even rest the sword on his shoulder there and have him looking really cool. And this hand really works good as like a, you know, parking it on his hip, looking, you know, it's just a really nice looking action figure, I think. But let me go ahead and remove the sword. And what we're going to do here, see if it'll go down in there. There we go. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how you install the other parts. You're going to have to take off his head, of course. And this one is easy. You just unplug it from the back here, as you can see, after you pop the head off. So there we go. Now, this is where it gets tricky. You have to unplug the actual torso to remove this. Now, if you'll notice, there's an actual belt that goes around that torso piece. Now, I'm going to agree with Anthony Customs, because I watched his review on this before I ordered him, and I still liked it. Even though he kind of gave him a bad review. And I agree. I mean, why didn't they make this a circle so that when you have this plugged in, he could, I mean, look at that big break. So you could rotate at the waist. That was kind of a dumb idea, I think, because you, once it's in, unless you don't plug it in, and it's not going to stay if you don't plug it in, you cannot, once it's plugged in on that square, you cannot turn it. Now, they could have even made that square where it could have turned, because on the inside is circular. I don't know why. I don't know what they were thinking here on that. I don't get that either. And we're going to look at articulation in a minute, but that's how you're going to plug everything in. So let's go ahead and get the plastic one here now that we've looked at the, of course, the cloth one. This looks like the front. Same deal. You just stretch that plastic on over so that it goes around his waist there, and then you're going to plug that and it pops right on in there. And then you're going to take the plastic cape and you're just going to wrap that around his neck and plug that peg right into his back. And we'll go ahead and put the other head, since we've looked at the first one, go ahead and look at this head as a comparison here. And this even has some hair. This one even has some hair coming alongside of his neck too. So that's just wild hair right there. You know, the facial expression is not a whole lot of different, not very different, but you can see this one's in a permanent, like, static pose, so that it's kind of whooshing to the right, and the loincloth is whooshing to the right a little bit as well, and it looks really cool if you're just going to have him in a static pose. Now, if you're going to sit him on the throne, you're not going to want to use this. You're going to want to use the soft goods, which is why it came with the soft goods. But yeah, that's how you're going to put that on and that on, and you can see how that looks. No coloring on the back. You can add some if you wanted to, for sure, a wash or something, but this collar looks really neat. That facial expression, that face sculpt looks really cool there, I think. You can see the different kind of hair that it has there. That's wild. But yeah, really cool. He's fun. I didn't know much about Mephisto, but I just like thrones, and I like special characters like this to go along with my baddies, my bad guys. So this is just really neat, I think. All right, now let's see him seated on the throne, and then we'll look at his articulation. It's kind of hard to tell where the front or where the back is. I'm assuming this is the back one and this is the front one. It's just hard to tell. There's not really something letting you know that, but I was just going to show you. It's real easy to slip on this cloth just around his waist. It's cloth as well, and then there's a square cut out in the cloth on the top so that you can kind of frame that square, and then you just pop that right on, and it kind of pinches down on that. So that's the way that goes. And what I was going to share with you about the cloth collar piece, the reason I wanted to do this for the throne, seeing him sit on the throne, is when you have the cloth cape and collar, it has a little necklace with a red jewel in it that goes around his neck also. So when you plug that in his back, it's not like a tie, it's more like a little necklace. So that's kind of cool, I thought. Really cool. All right, now let's go ahead and get him plugged into this throne here. I'm just going to rotate this around like so. And one of the things that I was going to show you, as you have maybe seen as well, is there is a place here where you can plug the sword right down in here like so, and it goes down into that skull. It's almost like the little tentacle is wrapping around the sword, and so it goes down into that little skull hole, and you can see it going down in there, and it parks right there. Isn't that cool? And just leans up against that little tusk piece. So that's really neat. And then of course, we back it back up here. We'll go ahead and get this dude in shape. I'm gonna go ahead and plug back on his other hand so he can rest it on the throne somewhere, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. Go ahead and bend these knees. And bend these knees and get everything kind of in place here, because I'm sure there's several different ways you can kind of rest this guy on there, kind of make him look like he's kind of, I don't know, chilling like a villain. Get his feet plugged down here so it don't look like they're sticking up. There we go, maybe put that on there, like he's resting that foot there, putting that hand there. Let's see here, let's just put that hand on his leg. He's resting that leg on that skull right there, and there you have it. That's just one option. He's just kind of chilling on his throne there, looking cool. There's another way to sit him on there. So you can see there's just quite a few ways that you can get him seated to make him look really neat on this throne. And as you can see, that when you have him seated on the throne, you cannot tell that there's a crack in there at all. So if you don't want to plug that in so that you can have like a little puppet in the back with a skull like I'm doing, it's not going to take away from anything really, in my opinion. That's just me. But yeah, this Mephisto is so cool. But you can get a lot of different poses. I mean, there's just, being that it's not just like a cut and dry throne, like there's a seat and there's like a restraining type elbow, rest, arm rest on either side of him, or a real flat surface to go, you can just get him in a lot of different poses on this throne. I mean, he could kind of lay on sideways in it, just kind of throw his leg up there over it and just kind of be chill, or he can be thoughtful, like he's in deep thought like he is here. You could even put that hand on his face and maybe rest one of his elbows on his knee there and just kind of have him leaning forward. Now, we're getting ready to look at the articulation next, but there are some limits on his diaphragm, which I'm not that pleased about. But let's go ahead and now look at his articulation. All right, bringing our Mephisto right up on in here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at him. Get him back right here. Now you can see that this head, because I was going to show you again, we do not have a hinge ball peg like we used to get with Marvel Legends, and this ball peg gets very limited range. So that's a little disappointing. Oh, I didn't realize there was hair stuck up in there. Let me move that out of the way. That might limit a little bit, but yeah, he's not going to look up at all, literally. And it's not the hair. It's not the hair that's preventing it. It's that horrible ball peg. It will not go up at all. He can only look forward. Now he'll look down a good amount. You might think, well, if it'll go down, why won't it go up? And I'm telling you, it's not the hair that's restricting that. If so, I could go, the hair is soft enough, I could bend it back and go against the hair. If for some reason it's the way they did that ball peg. But anyway, we'll look down a good amount. He'll get a little bit of head pivot, not like a big amount like you would hope to get with a ball peg like that, but a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at the other head. I'm just curious to how much. Now, this is the one that's got like the wild looking hair. Let's just see if it's any different. I don't think it's gonna be. Nope, no looking up at all. He'll look down and he gets about the same amount of head pivot as the other head. And of course, both of them will look side to side, and you can get a little bit of head pivot doing it like that. So I'll leave that one on for now. Of course, he's going to have full 360 with those shoulders. He will go beyond a T-pose with those arms, and he does have a pretty decent butterfly joint. You can see it coming out there and going in back here, and watch it come out. You can see it popping out, and it's even got some detail to make the muscles continue to go shaping there. That's pretty neat. And so yeah, he gets a pretty decent amount of crossing in front of him, like so. So that's pretty good. So you could definitely do, like I was saying earlier, a thing where he's kind of resting. Whoop, and that pops. That's one of the things I don't like about this, is it's real easy. It seems to be real easy to pop off. I'm going to see if it helps if I make sure there's no cloth pinched. But yeah, it kind of pops off pretty easy when you're posing him around. But anyway, he does have bicep swivel. He's got double jointed elbows that get really good range there. And we'll go ahead and move his bicep swivel. Same on this side. He does have horizontal hinges with these open hands. And as I mentioned earlier, he does have vertical hinges on these weapon holding, sword wielding hands. So I'm very tickled about that. That helps a lot when you're posing with swords and stuff. But this is where it gets a little disappointing. Now with this kind of slender character with a ball peg up inside the torso, the diaphragm, you would think that he'd be able to crunch more than that. I'll go ahead and get his legs down all the way here so you can see what I'm talking about. That's as much as he can crunch forward. That's it. And he can bend back. He bends back, I think, a little better. I think he bends back a little better than he crunches forward. And that's a shame. And see, there again, if you had a ball joint here, it could have still popped out in order to put the belt on if you had a ball joint instead of that square thing. Then you could combine the diaphragm and the ball joint and got more bending. And the only reason I care about that is when you're posing him on the throne, it would have just been neat to have had the option of just kind of like putting his putting his elbow on his knee, and because of the limitation of this right here, there's can't really do that. It won't quite reach. Not and be on his face. You couldn't do it. I don't know. That was just something I thought of. But there's just limitations when they give you this poorly designed diaphragm joint that could have been a lot better. And look, you can get really good side to side. That's pretty cool. Maybe you could do it that way. I don't know. See, it's gonna pop in. It's gonna pop in two. It popped in two, and I tried to bend it just a little bit to get a little bit more range there. But anyway, that is the way that is. And it will turn. You will be able to turn all the way at that diaphragm, so that's good. And I like the way these abs look. They look pretty cool, to go along with his motif anyway. All right, going on to the bottom, we've already said that he has no swivel at the waist because they chose to go with a square peg instead of a round peg and like a plug type situation. This is kind of neat. I haven't seen this before that I recall, but you have a little bit of plastic coming over here to make the torso, the crotch piece, seem to extend down into the leg. That's pretty neat. I think they could have gone a little bit further with it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. But let's see. He is not gonna get full splits, but he'll go about that far. He's gonna kick up about that far. There is a thigh rotation, double jointed knees as we've seen, and that will go all the way to his lower back. He also has boot rotation. That foot will get full tiptoes and go up all the way, and then excellent rockers with a peg hole in the bottom. So overall, pretty decent, but there's just a few things being that, you want to be able to utilize the throne, utilize the posability of a character in a package, and I say package set because of the throne plus the character. For this price point, I'm just going to say, I feel like it ought to have been a little bit more thought through with some of the things like the diaphragm and the waist, to me. Everything else is pretty good. I like the cape. I like both of the head sculpts. I'm thinking, even though this one is wild hair, I think I like this one just a little better because of the expression on his face. What do y'all think? The hair comes alongside of his cheeks on both of them. This one just has the hair coming back a little bit more classy looking to me. I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, so you can get both of these hands on his hips. But yeah, he's pretty cool. And there he is, Mephisto. And now, let's do some comparisons. And here is our amazing Mephisto next to Magneto. And you can kind of see these regular sized Marvel Legends are a lot shorter than he is. And then our Warbird, and then our Hyperion. They're all standing on the platform flat-footed with him, and he towers over them. So you can see the difference here. So it's almost like he doesn't fit in scale with other Marvel Legends unless you were to get, a really big dude, somebody really big, then you could, definitely. But just this gives you an idea of him in comparison to the Marvel Legends as far as regular size superhero men / women and everything. And here is our Mephisto next to our Revolution He-Man with a Hordak MX head sculpt. And you can see that he really fits in good scale-wise with your Masterverse figures. And that's really cool to know, because that's who I'll be pairing my Mephisto with, is Masterverse He-Man and the gang. So that's cool. That's really good to know. He fits in almost eye to eye. Matter of fact, Mephisto may be, with the hair height going on there, a little bit taller, but it still works.
My good fellow Mephisto, I must say, you have a very stylish throne there. I love it. I love it. Just anytime you need it warmed up, or, someone to keep it warm for you, you can just, send a little buzz over to the Skelly phone and let me know, and I'll be glad to accommodate. Maybe we can work together sometime. Get one over on Beefhead or something.
Here is our Mundo Skeletor next to Mephisto, and they're about height for height equal. Now, if you take away the hair, I think Skeletor is a little taller than him, actually, maybe by a little bit. And then, so you can get an idea of Chronicles. Here is a Chronicles Skeletor that I've added some paint to as well, next to our Mephisto, and you see that he's definitely a lot smaller in scale. So, I prefer, because of the way Masterverse went, and here Mundo is going with this scale. Even Classics was a little taller than Chronicles, even though the Chronicles figures are just beautiful and are made so well, and Articulation is just superb, like premium almost for their price point. I still prefer the, just me personally, the scale that we see here in this Mephisto. I like this height, and I like, the Mundo height too, and I've got a review up on the Skeletor if you would like to check that out. And here's our Marvel Legends Mephisto. If you're into Savage Crucible figures, this is a Savage Crucible villain that I turned into a Great Black Wizard, using some of the Great Black Wizard stuff from Origins, from Motu, the Mattel Creation exclusive there that you can get, using some of that garb and then painting some things on him and adding the cape from that figure as well, and adding this little jewel. I've got a review up on this custom that I did of the Great Black Wizard, who is very prominent in the Motu lore, and they just never made a figure until the Origins. Well, I don't collect that size or that scale or mess around with them in stories. I like this scale, as I've said, and this Savage Crucible scale I think goes great with this Mephisto. And here is our Super 7 Mongor from Thundercats, straight out of the Thundercats cartoon from the 1985 series, Mongor next to Mephisto here. And you can see that Mongor is definitely taller, and Mephisto is giving props to him. He's like, wow, there you go. Two devilish figures here. checking out each other, looking cool. I don't know who would work for who, right? And here's our Mephisto next to a couple of Mythic Legions characters. We have Atlas and one of the muscle mommies here from the recent release of some of the Mythic Legions here. And you can see that Mephisto is definitely thinner but taller than them also. And then finally, here is my custom scar that I painted, custom paint job on him. And you can see just how good he looks. This is a Marvel Legends figure, and he's taller than Mephisto, but they really scale up good together. I like using Scar as a good guy teamed up with He-Man. But yeah, they're looking really cool together here. Really neat. And thank you so much for joining us for this Super Dave review. It has been a lot of fun checking out this Mephisto and his throne. He's just kicked back, kind of laying back, just kind of sitting back on that weird, disgusting throne, being right at home, because he likes being at home in disgusting, dark, evil things, right? The Death Adder feels right at home along with him. So does the Great Black Wizard, as well as Mondor back there, and just, you know, even this dude back here from Mortal Kombat, and this evil guy here. They're just all, you know, kicking back and relaxing and exchanging stories of the good old evil days of all they used to do. All right, be blessed. Look forward to seeing you next time. Come back and see us again. Subscribe if you've not done so. Like this video if you've enjoyed it. Hey, leave us a comment if you have something to say, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Be blessed. Here's some photos in the photo gallery.